First, it's Georgia Tech, a team that's been up and down and mostly down, and certainly a team after Miami's pulled off very minor upsets. Maybe from a point spread standpoint, the NC State game wasn't even an upset, something in that range. They will be, I don't know, have not looked at the line, but they should be a fairly substantial favorite. 10. Okay. Against Georgia Tech, again, a team that's generally struggled as of late. So this is the game that Miami has in recent years played down to. So it's time to follow up those big performances with a let's kick them in the teeth and keep them down and hold the foot down to the throat.
I mean, just keep doing what you're doing. And again, it's you against the standard every week. That's what it needs to be. Chris Mitchell, we ought to wipe the floor with Georgia Tech. That means we'll win on the last second field goal. You could be right. But if it took the athletic director talking crap about the coach, trying to distance himself from the coach to basically try to pull a power move for when he was going to fire Manny Diaz, which seems to be backfiring on Blake James. Sucks for you, buddy. But if it took that to incite the change in the performance that we saw for NC State, great. If it took that to then carry over to Pittsburgh, fine. But this needs to carry over. Again, this is why we're frustrated, because these are the kind of performances, at least with the victories, and the interior play as well. But these performances are emblematic of what I believe we should have seen, if not better. Obviously, if we're not missing the, 7 guys that are out for the year with season-ending injuries, and, a couple of guys who have elected to transfer who, didn't necessarily affect the playing depth, but the roster overall. This is what Miami should be doing, right? So when we're up 21-7 last week at Pittsburgh, that is what it needs to be. Then they walk down, you get a field goal. Okay, it's 21-10. You keep it pushing. But this is what it needs to be every week. And again, it's you against the standard. And again, y'all know I taught choir. And I always say choir is a team sport because we had many people on the stage performing together, but it wasn't necessarily, okay, Everglades Choir versus Miramar's Choir versus American Heritage versus whomever. It's us against the standard for music performance. Every time that we're on that stage, what is the standard of excellence? Because it's not, not 2 choirs on the same stage doing it at the same time, but you have that standard that you have to uphold, right? What is your posture? What is your breathing? What is your diction, pronunciation, your style, your artistic intent? All these things you're being judged on all the time for Miami. And I've heard a player say, it's us against us every week. And that's what it needs to be. And for so many weeks, it was Miami beating Miami, coming out flat, having penalties, turning the ball over, getting down early. Manny Diaz has famously never won a game in which the Hurricanes have not led at the end of the first quarter. So if you're not leading at the end of that first quarter, invariably you can chalk that up to a loss. I'm pretty sure that's true. You can go look it up if you're watching this right now or listening to this later. I'm pretty sure that's the case. So if you're coming out in this way, right, where you're not performing to the level of excellence, you're dropping passes, you're missing blocks, you're missing tackles. My God, where Miami really hasn't even missed that many tackles over the course of the last few weeks, but we missed so many early in the season. We're still the team that's missed the most tackles on rate and percentage and total raw number in the country to this point, because we missed them by the bushelful earlier. What part of that is performing to the standard of excellence that any team should aspire, much less the University of Miami? Not 0% of that. So Miami needs to come out and play to whatever standard, in whatever kind of way that you're talking about. If you want to be angry, if that's what will be the foundation to get you there, fine. If you, whatever it is, right, that gets you in that place of mental clarity and athletic performance, that's what we need to see. And it does not matter who's on the other side of the field. And too often for Miami, it has mattered who's been on the other side of the field, whether they're going to bring it or not. It's been within a reasonable range of 15 to, we'll call it 80. If you're the 15th to 80th ranked team against Miami, Miami's going to bring it. Miami can play strongly, can be competitive, can win those games 3 out of 4 times. If you're a team that's ranked higher than 15 or 10, or ranked lower than 80 or 90, that's when the performance has wide variance. If it's a great team, doors are getting blown off. LSU, Alabama, Clemson again. All these teams, hell, even looking like Michigan State this year, 3 touchdowns. Any team that's good, Miami's going to get blown out because they didn't show up. And any team that's bad, it's going to be close because Miami doesn't show up. So why do you have to fit in this one little zitch to really kind of flex on them? If you're doing this week after week, if you're playing to the standard of excellence, and that is what the goal is, not to skirt by, not to make it tough, not to make it to the last second, but performing to the level of excellence that we have established at the University of Miami. That's when we're going to get back to being the kind of program that we desire to be. And the first step for us is going to be this game this week, where I know we can only go 1-0 this week. I know that there's only one team that we're playing against. But if you come out with that same kind of effort and performance that we've seen these last 2 weeks, this should not be a close game. But we will see which kind of Miami team we get, because who knows?
We've got a Georgia Tech team that is currently 3-5, 3-4 in the 2-4 in the conference. Jeff Sims still the starting quarterback. He had started at the outset of 2020 as a true freshman. Hit on 15 of 26, 2 touchdowns and a pick against Virginia Tech. That is a game that Georgia Tech got down early by 3 scores at halftime. Actually, call it 2 scores at 20-7. Took a lead momentarily in the second half and gave it up and lost to the Hokies 26-17. Jahmyr Gibbs is their big back. He had a $113 on the ground against Virginia Tech.